Hey, welcome back to When Bad Things Happen to Good People, a podcast about censorship and the arts. My name's Todd Sullivan, and it's been a while. It's been a crazy few months, and I have not been able to put out a podcast. And full disclosure, it's going to be a crazy few more months, probably until there's another one of these. But I am taking a few minutes here to finally release the recorded version of our live 50th episode anniversary celebration, which features a return to the mic of our original co-host Oren Barter to talk about the best of the 50 episodes, the worst of the 50 episodes, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. It was a fun time. It was a good conversation. It was great to have Oren back. And so that's what this episode is. As far as when you can expect to hear another episode, that's up in the air at the moment as well. I am working on a number of projects that have me pretty overwhelmed right now, and they are all projects that are generating income for me, which means that they take precedence over this one that does not. So that does make it tricky. The other thing that makes it tricky is I am currently without an actual co-host, so when I do generate another episode, I don't at the moment know what it'll look like. I don't know if I will have found a co-host by then. I don't know whether it will be me doing this by myself. But we'll see. We'll see what that happens to look like, and we'll go on from there. We hope you enjoy this celebration. It's about almost to the day 2 months since we recorded this, or since we broadcast this live. It was April 4th. It is now June 1st as I record this introduction. We hope you enjoy this conversation between myself, Oren and Barter, about bad things happening to good people.
Am I functioning as a co-host?
You are.
Sweet.
That's
what can I do as a co-host?
Nothing, I think.
Tell me my powers.
But the one thing they did change is that the link that I can give to my co-host is the link that will bring you directly in and put you on the call, as opposed to before it used to be a link that would just bring you into the room and then you'd have to request.
I'd have to call into my own podcast. I'd be like,
show, so.
Please, Todd, let me in, Todd.
And I could decide, no, not today.
I'd be like, you know what? This is going to be a solo show.
You're just going to be in the chat room begging to be let in. So, yeah, they're making little improvements here and there. So,
nice. What are you drinking tonight, Todd?
Well, right now I have a little Wonder Lager, but I did buy some sparkling wine for the occasion. I've got a bottle of...
Is Wonder Lager made by...
Stevie Wonder?
Oh, no. I lost the name. Yeah, Stevie Wonder. Sure, why not?
Okay. No, it's not.
Okay.
I don't know who brewed and canned. It's Phillips Brewing in Victoria.
Phillips?
Phillips, yeah.
Phillips.
But they're a low carb beer, 4% alcohol, 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 2 grams of carbs. And they had a really, really good dark lager that was. But the problem is that they only comes to town here in sample packs, like mix packs. And they had this really, really good dark lager a few months ago that I really would have loved to have just gotten 6 packs or cases of just that. But it was not to be.
Damn.
And now that we're into like spring, summer, their current roster of sample beers include a citrus lager, which is not bad.
Oh, okay. Are these all low carb or?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a regular, so it's a regular lager, a hazy IPA, and a pale ale that are the 3 sort of default flavors. Pardon me. I shouldn't be vaping.
Are you vaping weed?
Yeah.
Why are you coughing so? Oh, okay. Well, you shouldn't be that hard.
No.
That's what she said.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so those are the central flavors that are in all of their sampler packs, and they rotate, change around that last one. And so in the winter it was the dark lager that I liked, and now it's this citrus lager that I
Okay.
like. So, but the rest of them are they're good. They're just not as good as sort of the one that keeps switching around. Hey, Woody Bush, how you doing? Welcome to our cool 50 episode anniversary show, which
At
hasn't
least it's
officially
not bushy
started
wood.
yet. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's probably a bad joke. That might be their name. Sorry. How are you?
You eating over there? Or what's going on in the background?
Me? I'm trying to find something to pop open my Stella Artois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess I'm just gonna have to use the lighter again.
This is what happens when you buy those snobby beers that you have to have tools to open.
Well, they were on sale, and they also came with a free charcuterie board. Which, now that I'm saying that, doesn't make me sound less of a snob.
No, but I mean, hang on. Isn't a charcuterie board just a cutting board?
It pretty much, yeah. So that's what I'm going to use it for.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a super small cutting board. We're moving into a tiny cabin, so I
Mm.
think it would be the sizing would be appropriate.
See, like anytime that I've made charcuterie, I would just like I cut on the cutting board, and then when I'm done, I just bring the cutting board to wherever I'm eating,
You
and then
just
just
yeah, exactly.
like I think that's the whole point. The whole idea of having a separate board, like you chop on one board and transfer to a different board. It's like who who was the bonehead that needed to invent this process?
Well, I imagine what happened was like somebody was being super picky about what they wanted, and then, someone's like, "Fine, we'll just give them some freaking meat and some cheese and some crackers, and fuck them." And they were just cutting it all up, and they had it on the cutting board, and they're like, "Okay, well, how do you want to plate this?" And the guy's like, "You know what? Fuck it, so just give them the cutting board." And
Maybe, yeah, but exactly. That's the
and
whole
then
thing.
when it went to the table, the guy's like, "Oh, this is so fancy! Like, what do you call this?" And the guy's like, charcuterie board." And then that's definitely for sure how that happened. So
But even
now
if
you
it
know.
happened that way, there's still no reason for any time in the process for you to ever transfer from cutting board to different board for delivery. That just doesn't make like it would have to be the only thing that makes sense is some American got involved in this process and was like, we can make this better by adding more steps and more things to buy.
um. Okay, I gotta be honest. I made a charcuterie, but it was like more like a charcuterie platter. It wasn't on a board. It was in like a kind of a casserole dish, and I
Okay,
did cut
okay.
everything on a separate board and then transfer it to the. So I
Goddamn
mean, I'm not.
lunatic.
I'm
You're
not.
not proud of it. I know. I know you're going to say you're not proud of it.
I was at the time, but I'm looking back. Hindsight's 2020, and you know,
It's not even the if you put it into like a friggin' what did you call it, a casserole dish? Like that's not even the
yeah.
optimum delivery device.
No, it was actually really nice because like it had like depth to it, so we really stacked it up. Like it was chock full of stuff, and
Oh,
then
I
it
see.
had like these. It sat inside this like chrome handled delivery system. It actually looked really nice.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm using this charcuterie board for. It's definitely going to be a cutting board.
Yeah, and also a board upon which you can consume your charcuterie after you've cut it,
Exactly.
because you could do them both with the same board. I'm passionate about this
Tell us how you really feel about
now. Oh, I feel like I've done that a few times already. It's such a weird thing when people say that to me because it's like I just did. Did you not pay attention? Like
it. Tell me how you.
I'm not someone who hides my feelings.
Well, I think you may be missing the sarcasm in that sentence.
Well, I know that that's how it's used is that sarcastic way of like, you just spieled off. But like, I guess to me, it just doesn't make sense if that's something that I do literally all the time. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Right.
something that someone goes off like that every once in a while, then when you can be like, well, tell us how you really feel. Cause it's like for a surprise for them to do that. But when you do it all the time, I don't know, maybe I'm just hung up over really minute, inconsequential things. Hey, look at the time. We can probably start a podcast now, eh?
Sure.
Hey, welcome back to When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Oh God, we lost Woody Bush as we started.
Oh,
What does
no.
that say? He's like, oh shit, I was enjoying this so far, but if they're going to start for real, it's probably going to get dumb.
Oh, I'm sorry, Woody.
We can't
Maybe
hear it
you know
now.
what? It's probably because I made fun of their name and they were humming and hawing about whether they should stay, and then finally they were
It could
like,
be
you know
though. I
what?
made
Fuck,
fun of
fuck
Americans, and
this
he could have been
asshole.
American, so I was worried about that after I said that too. So, but really, if
Yeah, I
there's any
thought that
country
was I
known
thought that
for
was a
like,
little bit I thought that was a little bit unfair. You know, Americans are
well, oh
are
come on,
known for
if
more
you
than
want to,
just their excess,
yeah, are they
but
though?
that's mostly what they're. No, actually, I've got some friends of mine. Well, friend who moved up from Texas,
Yeah,
and they're actually super down to earth, cool people. So I don't know. What can you say?
I don't know. To one person is cool. That's great.
But I also have some family in the States which are apparently racist, so that's not cool.
Yeah.
So I guess you win some, you lose some.
You see, sometimes someone's nice, sometimes they're a horrible racist. You win tomato, tomato. Win some, you lose some. Um, let's start a podcast.
It is what it is. What it is, Todd.
It is what it wasn't. That Have we talked about like cliches?
I hate that saying. I hate that saying so much.
It is what it is. Of course, it is what it is. That's literally what it means
if
to
it
be.
if it wasn't, then it wouldn't be what it is. It would be something else. Ugh. Anyway, Woody Bush
You
left
want
the show.
you want to
I
do the
liked the
intro?
show. Sure, I'll do the intro.
Cool.
All right. Do you want to do the intro and then you have the music queued up or what?
I got the music ready to go, baby.
Okay. Hi there. Welcome to another live episode of When Bad Things Happen to Good People, a podcast about censorship in the arts. My name is Oren Barter. With me is Todd Sullivan.
Hey.
And I know I've been away for a while, but I'm looking forward to co-hosting this live episode with him.
Yeah, and today we're looking back at 50 episodes.
50 episodes.
Well, 49. This is the 50th episode.
That's one more than 49.
It is technically 50 episodes because we have an episode 0. So 0 to
That's
49
right.
would be.
If we have any programmers in the audience, that'll make total sense.
Yeah. Or just math nerds. Or people who want to count from 0 to 49 on their fingers.
Well, when you do iterations in most programming languages, it counts 0 as 1. So if you want to do 50, you go to 49. But hi, Forsaken.
Hey, Forsaken. Welcome to the show. We just started. And oh shit, before we go any further. So yeah, what are we doing here? It's our 50th episode. And well, this is actually
I feel like you should have done the clapping
that's
sound
right.
for that
I'm
one.
going to do that
Yeah.
too. Damn it. Hang on a second here. Let's pretend we'll cut this part out.
No, we won't.
This
We
is
never
our,
cut
this
the
is our
live
50th
episodes.
episode. How amazing is that, everybody? Yeah. Wow. Look at all those people in the audience cheering for us. Forsaken's already gone. She's already annoyed Forsaken.
Why have you forsaken us?
Pook's here now. Hey, Pook. Oh, no,
Hi,
Pook's already
Pook.
gone. That was...
Oh,
and
Pook came back.
Very
Very next
indecisive,
day.
this Pook fellow.
No, that's okay, Pook. Hi, how are you?
No, it's okay. No shame. I have a hard time making decisions, too. Like wondering if I should finish opening
good.
this bottle of wine or go and fix my video card first. Yeah, here we go. 50 episodes. Wait for it. There we go. Opening the champagne that isn't actually champagne because it didn't come from the Champagne region of France. But still, we got Henkel Trocken limited edition. It's a dry.
Thank you, Pook.
Dry wine. Oh, thank you. Yes. It's been a while. And Oren, yes, of course, you are back for this celebratory episode. You've been away for a little while.
I've been away for a little while, yeah. It's been I feel like the podcast has still done well without me, which is good. I'm not saying like I'm not all pouty about it.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I
because
was
I agree. I think we've had some good episodes, and some good guest hosts in your absence. Um,
absolutely.
and covered some stuff that I would have kind of loved to have had you along for. Uh, uh, I'm blanking on the name of the book now. Suddenly, the really short one that we did of Mice and Men. I think you would have enjoyed reading that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's. I always enjoyed some of the book coverage that we did. Like I enjoyed talking about um, The Handmaid's Tale and
Hmm.
um, Clockwork Orange with you. Those were both really enjoyable conversations. I am in Kamloops, British Columbia, and Oren, you're in Williams Lake.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you where you're at. Oren,
Oh, am I?
you are in
Oh,
Williams Lake,
how did I get here?
and you will stay there until I say you can go.
You know which the book that I liked the most, the one that I really enjoyed covering was the Malcolm X biography.
And that was
Yeah,
their first book, and that was the one that you had suggested.
I felt like that was a great read. It started off a little slow, but it flowed really well, and
Hmm
I liked how it was written. Um, like the writer worked himself into the the narrative
hmm
because he knew Malcolm personally. So yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was just a really well written book about a really interesting human being. So
Yeah, and I mean, my perspective on that one too is that is such a like an iconic, tumultuous time in American history. That period that I don't really understand as well as I could.
mhm.
And on top of that, understanding what that time in history was like as a black person
Mhm.
is like a whole other level of separation that was a really really interesting perspective to view it from.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the early years, like hearing about his coming into his own. That was I don't know. I just like the book. I like the book. Period. Done. Move on. What's next? No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Montreal. Okay. Shut down the entire network system mainframe. Oh. Uh
Oh no!
oh.
Did you bump a power cord somewhere? I've heard of that happening. I think my favorite is probably The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. Yeah.
It's such a even though it was written in like 1980 something, I think the content of it is still so incredibly um, current.
Hmm.
It's the sort of thing you hear these laws where they're making it harder for people to get abortions. Meanwhile, I just read that in I think Tennessee they're trying to remove um, like a maximum age or a minimum age for marriage.
Oh,
Which,
okay.
which is wait, like so you would make it legal to marry a 10-year-old now, and
Yeah,
yet
that's
that 10-year-old would also be forbidden from having an abortion. Like they are building, or at least some factions in the U.S. are attempting to build the friggin' um, the Handmaid's Tale.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's the first I've heard of that. That sounds absolutely wild to me.
right. Pretty messed up. But so
Huh.
yeah, I mean that's probably my favorite. I also just thought it was impeccably well written, um, and it was
I
sort of
definitely, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I definitely disagreed with you on that one, at least for the first bit. I thought it was a little disjointed at first and hard to get into.
Yeah, yeah, I never
Um,
had any issue.
and I think like
Uh,
if I was going to read it for my, my own enjoyment, I probably would have put it down. Um,
it didn't capture you that early on, eh?
it didn't. No, it took a long, like I did like it by the time I finished the book. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I have to say that if I didn't have to finish it for the podcast, I probably wouldn't have. just based on those first few chapters.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know if I'm alone in that or not, but
Well, now I'm curious. Like going back, then I'm
mhm.
guessing. Like, let's go through all the books and ask you that question. I'm guessing with the biography or the
Thank you, Pook.
autobiography of Malcolm X.
Well, Pook asked us a question. I haven't been to the U.S. in a long time, and I've only ever really been to Seattle, which is, very, very close to us, to visit some family. So I'm not super familiar with the states, to be honest with you. He said be right back. So you probably didn't catch any of that. So, okay, so what were you saying, Todd?
Well, I was saying, like, you've mentioned on at least this one book that you wouldn't have finished
Mhm.
it if it hadn't been for the podcast. So I'm curious if you felt that way about any other book, and I know at least one
Yeah.
that I'm sure you did. Um,
So there's one that I didn't finish because I didn't like it, and I
no, but
still
I mean,
talked to.
before we get to that, though, are
Okay.
legitimately, like, say, Clockwork Orange, which was like a really difficult book to penetrate and understand in those early chapters. Is that another one that you might have thrown away if it hadn't been an obligation?
No, but I think that because I had watched the movie before, I think that
Mm,
I may have understood a little bit better the
yeah, for sure.
vernacular used in the book.
Yeah,
So I can't really say on that, like if I had never been exposed to anything Clockwork Orange, if I would have kept reading, because it was, yeah, like the language was difficult to
yeah.
wrap your head around. But I've always been a fan of that sort of creative language because I don't really like rules in language. It's as long as you're getting your point across, I'm very
Hmm.
happy to read it. Um, so I think that there's a chance I would have been able to power through that and really kind of work through what the author was trying to say. I do like Shakespeare plays. I don't know a lot of stuff in that doesn't make a lot of sense. So
Right.
yeah, I think I may have been okay with that, but I think I had prior experience with the language, which definitely helped.
Fair enough. Just wanted to mention you're getting really crackly. I don't know if there's a.
You're getting a little crackly on my end too.
Oh boy,
Let's see. You're not too bad. Am I super crackly?
you're quite crackly. Yeah.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
You haven't
Um,
moved at all, have you?
I have not. Let me just unplug my headset and put it back in.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can, and you're still quite crackly.
Oh, you're getting more crackly to me. Could be a connection issue. Oh yeah,
Oh
my
no!
Wi-Fi just did a
Hello.
big dip. Okay, it's back up. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me know if it gets bad again. I'll switch to cell data instead of Wi-Fi.
It is currently bad.
Okay. Let's see what I can do. At
Oh,
least
that's
I can
better now.
move in this situation. Yeah, I'm getting closer to the router.
That's bad. Oh, okay.
Okay, is that better?
It's a little bit better.
Okay, let's try that. Let me know if it gets bad again. I've got decent cell service in this part of the house too, so.
Okay. It's still not great.
Okay, I'll try swapping. Okay, how about now?
It's a bit better, I think.
Okay, let's give that a go.
Yeah, it seems better. Um. So yeah, did we finish talking about the whether you would? Oh yeah, whether you would have finished Clockwork Orange? You think you probably would have. So we just won't say anything about that. Um. I think it's interesting too, though, is that sometimes this has led us to cover, books that we never would have thought about probably reading. For example, I Am Jazz,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which, I mean, I don't think either of us in our just average day-to-day lives would have thought, let's go read a children's book about a transgender girl.
Yeah, no,
What her life is like.
I definitely wouldn't have put that on my list, but I'm glad I read it. Um, and I feel like that is definitely something that, yeah, I didn't think that was an issue for anybody to read. If a kid was curious about reading it, I mean, I don't think you can really force any kid to read anything. But
Mm.
if they want to pick that up and
Well, I
read
mean, you
it,
can as part of a school curriculum if they want to, pass a course or whatever. But
right. Yeah, I feel like that would be fine to have in a course curriculum. I don't think it. What was that other one? Did we ever do the Paper Bag Princess? I think we thought of.
yes,
Yeah, we did. That's right.
like you,
Same,
yeah,
same
you
with
did
that
the
one. Yeah,
you were still around for the summer reading program. Yeah, we did Paperback Princess.
yeah.
I was mostly struggling to remember where you ended, what episodes you had done, which ones you hadn't,
Right.
because I knew we had done that one. Anyway, what was your
Yeah, I
point about
can't really
the
remember
Paperback
the last
Princess?
ones I did either. Well, same thing. Like, absolutely nothing wrong with that book either. It's kind of funny seeing how
Oh, but
some
you
of
wouldn't have
these
read it
are
otherwise.
like how like. Oh
Okay.
no, I've read the Paper Bag Princess before. Yeah. No, I'm just talking about how like what gets banned and for what reasons. It just some of them make total absolute sense, but the majority of them are just kind of garbage excuses. I find.
Well, and the thing is, I guess it's sometimes like comparing, apples and wheels, because we're picking things that have been banned from different places for
Hmm.
different reasons, right? Like the reason the Paperback Princess might get banned from an elementary school is different from why the Handmaid's Tale is being banned from high schools, and it's different from why the Turner Diaries isn't even allowed in an entire country. So
Hmm.
there's always going to be some weirdness between why one thing is banned and why a different thing is banned. But it is funny what some things can be banned for sure.
Yeah. Well, like the Little Prince. That one was sad. That one.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
but it was an interesting story about the banning of that one for sure. Yeah,
Sorry, we're just kind of. I'm going off the rails here. Did you have some sort of direction you wanted to go with the show, or?
with this show,
Yeah.
not really. It just sort of wanted to talk about. Well, one thing I wanted to definitely talk about, which just came up a minute ago, was the Turner Diaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one you wouldn't have finished.
No, and I didn't finish it. To be perfectly honest with you, I skimmed probably the last, I don't know, 30% of the book. Just it was just
Yeah,
getting too
it.
much for
I
me.
mean, I can't blame you. It's a difficult thing to consume,
It's almost an
and
impossible thing to consume. It is,
well,
yeah.
it was for you.
And that was the second time you read it, so I feel bad for you.
Yeah, I feel bad for me too, because I had forgotten the book and now I remember it, and it'll take me a while to forget it again. But it is, again, topic wise and current news wise, that is the mindset of a lot of the far right in Canada, in the United States, and I think it's important that we not put our heads in the sand and ignore that fact, and
Mhm.
some of us need to kind of try to understand what these people are thinking and feeling, as horrible and hateful as it might be.
They're misguided. Yeah, it's yeah, it's difficult though because you don't. Hold on a second. Can you turn the
Yeah.
radio off, please? Like we had our demonstrators, the Freedom Convoy supporters here in town, and after the mandates were lifted, it was said that the vaccine mandates were going to lift. The majority of them kind of they were like, okay, know, life's gonna get
I'm only getting about
normal for
10%
me.
of everything
I'm
you
happy.
say right now.
Uh, but there was a select few that that decided to stick around and keep protesting after they got what they wanted.
Hey, dude, can you
And it
hear me
really
at
kind
all?
of weeded out the more extreme. We maybe had about, oh, that's not good. I think that might be on your end, Todd, because I got really good service right here, and you are crackling for me pretty good too.
Really?
You have been for the whole time.
Okay.
How's your?
Well, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh God, I said that
Oh, I
about 10
think we
minutes
might have
ago.
lost Todd. Are you
Hey,
there?
hello? There's some nightmare lag going on in one direction. I don't know which direction it is.
How's your connection?
I don't know. I think it's okay. It says excellent inside of Podbean.
Hey, how's your connection? Hello.
Hey, can you hear me? Hi. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
How about now? Does it sound better to you?
No.
Oh no.
I don't know if you can hear me. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
That better?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. You're still crackly, but at least you can hear me. Or maybe you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to
Alrighty.
tell if you don't say things.
I think we might be back in business. I'm saying
We
things.
are. You're still burbly and bobbly, but
Okay, well I'm jumping between Wi-Fi and internet, and it's saying excellent connection for both.
yeah, I
So
don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what the problem is.
I'm not,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I'm crackly to you too, eh?
yeah, you are a little crackly to me. You know what?
Hang on, let
Let's
me just
let's blame Pod. Let's blame Podbean because if we complain about
well, yeah, we
Podbean,
could
they will improve
we
their
could do that.
servers because every time we complain about something on Podbean, they fix it.
That's true. They fix it. That is true. So yeah,
So if we
must
say
be
like, "Hey
Podbean's
man,
fault.
you need better servers," by the next time you do a live episode, they'll have way better servers.
Exactly. So yeah, get to it, Podbean folks. We believe in you. So yeah, we were talking about the Turner Diaries. Can you um at what point in that book were you like, nope?
It was pretty early on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was.
Do you remember a moment?
I remember a few moments that really, really punched me in the gut. Um, the one moment about when the author just started spewing about the Jews, and it was just so off topic from anything the book was even talking about. Like at the start, it seemed to try to be a little
Hmm.
moderate. It
Hmm.
tried to come across as moderate at least. And I think it was the first super racist rant, and I can't remember if it was about which race they attacked because that author attacked so many in that book.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
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 like I tell you, starting off slightly moderate in no way made me just gloss over the fact that I had read just a horribly racist rant,
yeah,
and that's when I really disassociated from the book, and it was pretty immediate, and I
yeah.
wasn't super invested in it anyway.
No, because I mean, on top of it being like incredibly hateful, it's an incredibly badly written book.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no craft to it. And I guess there's a reason for that, and it's that maybe insane hateful people aren't that talented. Thank God for the most part. Um,
yeah,
the
that
one
book
thing
was
that
mostly about like I'm great. Everyone sucks. I'm the
yeah,
hero. Everyone else is a cuck. It was just like,
yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that you could maybe make it feel like it wasn't the current story is that they didn't use the word cuck.
yeah.
The one
Or
sort of
how everybody that they didn't like was a rapist.
right, yeah, yeah. Or the one that stood out to me was how like when things got really bad for like food and stuff I think they were in California at that point. They talked about how black people started eating each other, but only black people. It's only
Yeah.
black people that would, resort to that because they're all savages from the jungles. And
Yeah.
that was just such a weirdly telling kind of like they don't. It's like they can't see how racist it is because they actually literally believe that, right? Like
Hmm.
anyway, yeah, it was an educational book in I guess a way that nobody probably wants to be educated in.
I'm glad it's over.
That reading that book, yeah, it's been over for a while.
Yes.
You still wake up screaming with memories about it.
No, I was telling somebody about the podcast, and they're like, "Oh, what's the worst book you ever did?" And I was like, "Oh, it was called The Turner Diaries." And they're like, "What is it about?" And I was like, "I'm not even going to tell you."
I don't hate
And they're
myself
like,
enough
"No,
to even
no,
think
what's
about
it
that.
about?" I was like, "No, don't read it. I'm not going to tell you. I don't want to talk about it. It's just that bad. Just believe me. Don't touch it." And they're like, "No, no, no. What's it about?" I was like, "No, I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on." Next time
Right.
somebody asks me what the worst book I ever read was, I'm going to come up with a different one because I don't want to be forced into a situation where I have to remember it.
Yeah, I think like what's the 50 Shades of Grey is a good answer.
50 Shades of Grey. Is that banned? Should we do that one?
Uh, I don't think it's banned. It might have been
Oh,
banned
okay.
somewhere. I thought you were done with the podcast.
Well, I mean, I could always come on as a guest host.
That's true. That's true. You pick a favorite every once in a while. Pick a favorite book, or not a favorite book, but like a banned book that you really want to check out, and you can come on and spend a couple weeks talking about it.
Absolutely.
The
I'm
door
down.
is always open for you, my friend.
Sweet.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the movies that we watched. Um, just to easily start, do you have a favorite banned film that we covered?
Hmm. I would say Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had you seen that before? Was that your first experience with it?
That was my first time watching it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot.
It's really good. Yeah.
It was well made. It was gory as hell and
Right.
kind of hilarious in some ways.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that and I think the Hunger Games sort of came out. The book Hunger Games, I think, came out within a year of each other, with apparently no overlap or inspiration.
Oh,
And
really?
I did go on to read. I don't think I finished it, but I did read a bunch of the manga of Battle Royale,
Oh, okay.
which is I think where it originated. A lot of Japanese content originates as manga and then becomes other things too. Um,
Eventually becoming a live action Netflix adaptation that tanks.
Sometimes,
Mostly,
sometimes.
usually.
That's
Did you see?
what is that? Cowboy Bebop,
Hey, you
right?
know what? Can we do it like a side when canceled things happen to bad people?
Okay.
That would be fun. Maybe I shouldn't
When
spring this on you
canceled things
live.
happen to bad people.
No, to
So,
or no, when canceled things happen to good people. Sorry,
okay.
I said banned people.
Oh, I see. So we need to find things that have been banned and then subsequently canceled.
No, no.
Okay.
Oh, when canceled things happen to good people. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So when good shows get canceled,
No, I was thinking just like I mean, you could look at some shows that were good that got canceled, but like,
just
I
good
think
people who were
if I
good people who were in bad shows that got canceled. Is that where you're going?
I'm just saying we're the good people and we're talking about shows that have been canceled.
Okay. So right, we're the good
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Right. Okay. When canceled things happen to good people.
When good
Okay.
people watch
I don't know
canceled
why I
shows.
had so
How
much
about that?
difficulty understanding that. That's the
when,
basic concept of this show.
how about when good people watch canceled shows?
When good, yes, two people watching canceled shows. These people are good. Great.
I mean, I think everybody thinks they're good. Let's be honest here. I'm sure there's some people that just hate us.
I think so. I think the reason the band thing works is because it's replacing the word bad with band.
How about the good, the bad, and the canceled?
The good, the bad, and the canceled. Well, see, what we could do then is if we were to roll this into, we could do the good, the band, and the canceled.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that way we could talk about just literally anything. Here's a book that's been banned. Here's a book that hasn't been banned. Oh,
Here's a book that's good.
here's a TV show that's been canceled.
Here's a TV show that's good.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. Uh, um, I think what is my favorite movie? I want to say The Clockwork Orange.
It was well shot.
Yeah.
There was some great visuals in that movie.
Yeah, it remains one of my favorites, and it was fun to watch it again and then talk about it from that perspective, right? Not just watch a movie and walk away from it, but like to watch one of my favorite films and dig into a conversation about it, about specifically about the subject of being banned.
And then after having read the material that influenced it,
Yeah, because I hadn't read it before. And then of course we did one music album.
yeah, that's right.
Two Live Crew,
Nasty as you want to be, nasty as they want to
with
be. Sorry,
with Dave Coleman,
As,
who also joined us for the
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that was a fun episode to do with Dave. He's a smart guy when it comes to music, and as are you actually. And so, I felt like I had less to offer the conversation on those ones, but it was fun to listen to a couple of, music geeks
Well, I mean,
talking.
music is always multiple parts, right? Like there's, especially when you look at music, I would say like recent music, anything from like the '80s up. You've got the person performing the music is a big part
Oh,
of the music. Maybe before that it was a little less important to a degree. And then, the second part obviously is the music itself.
yeah.
And then, the third part is the topics in which the music covers, right? So, I mean, you don't have to necessarily understand the music side of it, which
Oh,
you
I see what
do.
you're saying.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you're not giving yourself enough credit there. You're a decent musician too, Todd.
Well, as a dude who fumbles on a keyboard and plunks at a ukulele, I don't really consider myself in the same league as you guys, but you're right. I am a musician. I'm a musician. I have music. I have music. Um, is there anything that strikes you as like the most surprising experience you had on the podcast? Either like a moment that you read, a moment you saw.
Okay, well, the one I'm going to bring up is the one that's never been released.
Oh God, yes.
And I hate that it hasn't been released because that was our best episode.
Yeah, I should actually get back to. I got to bug Dave again to look at doing a quick because he's so much better at doing that kind of sound repair now. I bet he could clean those things up in no time, and we
Let's
could slap
let's
them
let's
on
give it to
here
him. Yeah,
or on
I would
Patreon.
love to
Yeah,
have that one up. I can't remember what it was called now.
yeah. I don't
Crap
remember
bag or
either.
what was
But
his
give me
name?
1 second, and I can.
The kid's name was Crap Bag or
No, Harmony
something
Korine.
Park. Something Park.
Which kid?
Are we talking about the same thing? Do we have two episodes that were released?
I don't know. I
The
don't
one
think so.
about the skater kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you trying to remember what the skater kid's name was?
No, the name of the film was something Park
Oh, Ken Park, I
because
think.
Ken Park, yeah. Crapnap. Crapneck.
Crapneck.
Yeah,
I don't
that's right.
remember that. I don't remember that.
Well,
I do
he
vaguely
said
hearing it now. It makes a vague
yeah,
connection.
well because the narrator talks about how he's talking about this kid and how if he spelled his name backwards it was Crapneck.
Oh, it was Ken Park, of course. Yeah,
Ken Park, yeah.
derp. But yeah, that was a wild movie. But so, what was the shocking moment? I'm guessing I know what it is, but
There was a lot of shocking parts, but like right off the bat, um yeah, I mean if you haven't seen this movie, spoilers, I guess. Uh yeah, it starts with this kid. He's skating around. He's got a backpack. Um, he's just a kid. Goes to the skate park. He sits down. He pulls out a camera. Right? Am I right on that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. He pulls out a camera. Starts videotaping himself. And then he pulls out a gun. And you're like, oh, well, this kid's gonna make some weird you know, video of him like pointing a gun and being all like whatever. And he shoots himself in the middle
Hmm.
of the skate park. And I think from that moment on, I couldn't expect anything from the movie from that point because it was a really intense intro for sure.
Yeah. God, that
And
was
then
that
there,
was an amazing film. And actually, I had forgotten entirely about that, and I'm going to have to say that is my favorite film of the ones that we covered, without a doubt.
and unfortunately, the audio quality for my end of the episode was so horrible we didn't feel like we could release it. But I think there's been enough time that even if we can get it passable, I think we should
I
get
think
that
it's worth
episode
it.
out
Yeah.
there.
I mean, it
Yeah,
was it was I think the only time that we ever did two episodes just for a movie. There
yeah.
was just so much to talk about in this film that we couldn't get it within like a good hour runtime.
And
And
I feel so stupid for having the wrong microphone set up. It was coming off my laptop microphone and not my studio microphone.
yeah, and I think on top of that, you had moved your laptop microphone further away,
Right,
so
because
the,
the
the,
fan
sta-
from the
the
computer was
fan,
getting loud.
right? So you
Yeah.
you made you made it even worse. So best laid
Oh
plans.
my god.
But yeah, Harmony Korine wrote that film. I believe he might have directed that one as well.
Okay.
The first film that he wrote was a film called Kids, which is
I think I remember you
another,
telling me about this. Yeah,
yeah,
but I've never seen it.
another absolutely spectacular film. I think it was the first film that Chloe Sevigny was in, um, and it is absolutely, I think, the best written dialogue as far as like young people talking that I've ever heard. Like it felt absolutely sincere and real, and it's because it was written by a kid who was like living on those streets at the time.
Right.
And both that and Ken Park, both absolutely spectacular films. I'd actually forgotten about the opening of Ken Park and the kid shooting himself until you brought it up, and because of course my go-to for like the most shocking scene in that film is the guy who jerks himself off while like engaged in autoerotic asphyxiation with a bathrobe, you know,
Right.
and jerks off to completion on film, which is not something that you're used to seeing in a regular Hollywood production, unless you're
Yeah, I
thinking,
would say definitely not.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of forgot about that scene too until you brought it up.
I guess we wipe different things from our minds.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, like there was a
Yeah.
lot of intense scenes in that movie that just they felt too real to be made up, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it really felt like somebody had just plopped a camera around a situation. And it wasn't really even shot to be like that. Like it wasn't shot documentary style or anything like that. Like it was shot
No, not
film
entirely. Yeah.
style. But I feel like the performances were so real that you kind of get lost in it. Great movie. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like that movie. It touched on a lot of things. It was intense.
Yeah. It was a good time. I mean, not a good time in the sense of like, yeah,
I
we get
mean,
to, we
yeah,
get
it
to,
was like yeah, the actual
it was an enjoyable
subject
movie.
matter was stressful, right? Like it was
Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just well done.
So I don't know how many of the episodes that have come out since you stopped you might have listened to, but if you've listened to any of them, is there any of the stuff that we've covered that you kind of feel like you missed out on that you would have liked to have talked about?
Ah, okay. Who was? And I know I'm focusing on the wrong thing here, but who was the guy that you brought in who had done podcasts for years and
Oh,
years?
Jason Hewlett.
Yeah, what were you guys covering?
We did a horror movie called it's Mary. No, Mary. Hang on just a second. I'll have it here in a second.
To be honest, I feel like more than any subject matter, I
Silent
wish I
Night,
could
Deadly
have
Night.
I wish I could have done a podcast with you and him. Like you
Right, I see
get
what you're saying.
yeah, he brought such a good energy to the show. And you guys meshed so well. And I mean, I don't think I would have ruined the magic, but
Of course not.
yeah, I think I really like that episode as it is.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say like I feel like I missed out on being that, but I definitely would love to do an episode with the three of us, and I would love to
Cool.
do another one with you and Carlo, and with you and Dave.
Right. Well, Carlo is easy enough. We just got to get you back to Cameron to guest on Half Cut Conspiracies. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then
Um,
I mean, yeah, I'm sure we can find something to do with Dave.
but
So you're gonna say
no, that I just he was yeah. You guys had great chemistry. That was a fantastic show.
yeah, I mean, he's definitely he's done podcasts. He's part of the Paranormal Network, YouTube videos and stuff. Like he's definitely knows how to be entertaining and have a conversation in an entertaining way. And you know, uh, it was an immense amount of fun to make that podcast with him as well. It was just a great conversation. It's such a bonkers movie to talk about. It's almost when it comes to movie stuff, especially, I find it's most fun to talk about things like Brain Dead that are just like fucking ridiculous and over the top, where
Yeah.
you can laugh about the experience, than to talk about something like Last Tango in Paris and be like, you have to get into
Oh
like
yeah,
the
that.
discussion of like, you know, potentially half raping a woman on the set. Like that's not as entertaining a conversation. It's
So
not
who was that actor again?
Marlon Brando.
It was Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
You know, I Marlon Brando came up because of what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock,
Mm, the
right?
Oscar
Because
comparison. Yeah.
yeah, because what they were talking about was having to hold back John Wayne and others
Yeah. Yeah.
from storming the stage, and then we also we're Nikita and I. Do you mind if I'm just going to ask her a question here? She's
Yeah.
right here with me. What was that show we were watching when we saw that picture of Marlon Brando with the Black Panthers? It was a show, right? Like we were watching a show and it showed up as a picture. Yeah. Okay, we can't remember, but it showed up again, and I was like, oh, who is that? So we did a Google search of white actors standing with Black Panthers 1970s, and sure shit, it was Marlon Brando.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, like it sounds like he's doing some. Oh, we were watching a YouTube video. The guy was talking about that's why he brought it up. That's why he showed the picture. So, I was kind of like, okay, well, this Marlon Brando character seems ahead of his time, and I was like, but why do I feel like I don't necessarily believe him? Like something was nagging at the back of my mind. And sure as shit, it's because I watched a movie in which he and the director shocked a young actress
Yeah.
by performing a rape scene without her knowledge or consent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Marlon Brando, yeah, you let somebody take an award for you or refuse an award for you, and you may have stood with the Black Panthers, but you've done some bad stuff too.
Look, man, we're all multitudes. Yeah, you're right. Like, fucking shitty people do good things sometimes too. Is I think something that we can
And good people do shitty things as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah,
I feel like there was no excuse there's no excuse for shitty things. If you're a good person or not, there's no excuse.
That's where I was going to go with that. Is because it's like, do you let the number of good things you've done outweigh the shitty things? Like, I don't know. I feel like once you go shitty, it doesn't really matter. It's but yeah,
I'd like to think that there's redemption somewhere.
I'd like to think so too.
Yeah,
I'd like to think so too, but I don't know where it lies.
Says people who have probably done shitty things. That's just
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
we could talk about like the shittiest thing we've done. I don't know if I can think of it right now.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. I'm not even looking at the screen right now.
Well, Sean entered the live studio.
But now he's gone, it looks like.
Oh, he's gone. Oh.
Yep. Okay, I guess one final question to bring up is, are there any sort of banned books or films that you're aware of that you would like to cover one day that you can think of? Maybe now I can just Google whether or not 50 Shades of Grey was banned, because you mentioned that one.
I don't really want to read that.
But you just want to force me to read something I'd read before, and there's a bad book again.
Exactly. Shit. Okay.
It is. It's banned in Malaysia, Indonesia, Nigeria, Kenya, United Arab Emirates, Papua New Guinea, and Cambodia. So,
damn. Okay.
Definitely something we could cover.
Banned material. Honestly,
I'm still looking forward to doing a banned video game.
Yes, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I was talking to Carlo about doing Postal 2 with him because he apparently remembers playing it when he was younger, which is wild.
Yeah, because I never heard about it until you brought it up. So, I don't know. Was I can't talk.
Oh,
Leisure Suit Larry ever banned?
I don't know.
I kind of remember that game when I was a kid. I remember it being around. I don't think I ever played it, but I feel like it would be really interesting to see. What was that? Smut from the 80s or 70s? Smut game.
Larry was 80s, I think.
80s, yeah. It'd be interesting to see what passed for smut in the 80s, see if it was better or worse than what passes for smut today.
Oh, I mean, you're definitely going to get higher quality smut today.
No, I'm not talking about like graphic-wise. I'm talking about content-wise.
Oh, well, Leisure Suit Larry is a comedy.
Yeah. No, for sure. But it is a smutty comedy. It's a dirty comedy.
It's a smutty comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember its version of age verification was just asking you a bunch of questions that only an adult could possibly do. So if you were just a really mature kid who read the news, you could get past it. And,
that's hilarious. Well, you know what? We laugh at that, but that's still better than like, Pornhub. It's like you must be 18 years or older to do this website.
Well, but I think it's based on like technically when you click on it, it's a legally binding contract. Although I guess if you're underage, you can't be in a legally. Anyway, point is, the other thing about the Leisure Suit Larry thing is there's only like 3 questions, and there's only like 4 answers for each question. So you can literally just brute force this thing in less than an hour if you wanted to,
and break into it. That's funny.
Yeah, I remember playing that with my cousin, and we went to it was his computer that had it, and we went to a nearby game store to buy a a hint book because
Oh,
that's
okay.
if you didn't know how to beat a game, that's what you had
Yeah.
to do. In that you buy a hint book, and it was one of those ones with invisible ink, and so you'd flip through until you
Oh.
found the problem you were at. And if you didn't want to be told like the answer right off, you still wanted to kind of figure it out for yourself. You could like
Hmm.
highlight the first line and it would give you a hint. And you still didn't
Interesting.
get it, you could highlight the second line and it would give you a slightly easier hint.
Huh.
And then if you're like, I still can't get it, you highlight the third line and it's like,
And they
this is
just
the
spell it
answer,
out
you
for you.
fucking dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's how video game walkthroughs worked back in the day.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I would totally love to.
I mean, I remember video game walkthroughs in book form too.
Yeah,
I'm old enough to remember that, but I never did one with invisible ink.
that's pretty
So
cool.
that's
It brought
cool.
a whole like extra like level of like, ooh, uncovering some secret information. Apparently,
Apparently,
Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude is banned on Twitch
okay.
because it was published as an AO rated game, and all AO rated games are banned on Twitch.
All right.
So, I mean, that's another angle of being banned that we could look at using. Banned on Twitch, we'll play that game, but probably not on Twitch because they won't let us on there to do it. But yeah, video games are sort of like the one sort of banned subject that I haven't touched on yet that I would like to. Can you think of other banned subjects that we could, other than what we've
Like
done?
material or
Yeah, what's another
like
medium?
another media entirely. Okay. Uh, Locations?
Like places you physically can't go?
Yeah, like Area 51 or like Cuba was banned from the States for years. Um,
Well, I think the whole idea is that we take the thing that's been banned, we experience the thing that's been banned, and then we talk about the thing that's been banned. So, like,
well,
unless we can actually go to Area 51, it doesn't really work. Although maybe that can
what's
be our way to
stopping
get
us?
in.
What's stopping us? Yeah, we can just be like,
Like,
hey, we're with the media.
yeah, right. We could logic them into it, right? It's like, hey guys, here's the thing. We do this podcast on things that are banned, and since
And we
Area
want
51
to do,
is
yeah.
banned, we need to talk about Area 51. But as part of our production, we have to experience the thing. So can you guys let us in and be like, oh shit, we have to go?
They'd be like, yeah, well, you got us here, so come on in.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry, you kind of threw it at me. So locations, but I think that could be interesting. Like
could be.
certain locations. I mean, what else? There's pirate radio.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I can't really say I've ever actually listened to a pirate radio station in my life, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not
Um,
even sure like how. I mean, I guess we could do an episode on the dark web.
you think so? I don't know if I want to go on the dark web. I've never been.
Oh.
I'm okay with never being on there, to be
I
honest.
mean, the problem with the dark web is it's hard to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Like the whole point is that it's decentralized. It's not
So
part of
if
this
you don't know
wider
where you're
whole
going,
internet.
yeah, if you don't know where you're going, you can't get there.
Not pretty much. I
Yeah.
remember I popped on the dark web a couple of years ago just because I needed to experience it, and this was right around just before the Silk Road was brought down.
Hmm.
Um, and I found a link or I had an address to a site that was kind of like a Yahoo for the dark web. So it was hierarchical structures with you click on sort of whatever
Right.
subject you're interested in, you follow the links, and but yeah, basically, unless you can find something like that, there's no Google, there's no ability to search anything.
Yeah.
It's weird to call it the dark web because it's technically on the same internet as everything else,
Hmm.
right? But the way the internet works is like it only lets you pages that let you see them are the only ones you can see.
Hmm.
And so these pages have like said like no, you can't look at us. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. It's weird and complicated.
So you need to be like you need to have a certain handshake to get into the site. You need to show that you're
Well, yeah. To begin with, you need an entirely different browser. You need the Onion
yeah.
browser. Yeah.
So the ogre browser, because ogres are like onions
How so?
from Shrek. Ogres are like onions. They have layers.
Oh, okay.
No.
See, that's what I was looking for. They have layers.
Okay.
I then immediately realized it was a Shrek joke, and even once I didn't get it
Oh,
because I've
okay.
only seen
Sorry.
Shrek once, and I didn't think it was that great. It was better
I've
than I
only
thought it
seen
would be.
it. I've only seen it 100 times, so you know.
That makes sense.
Let's see what other media. I mean, what media is there? Like banned newspapers,
Telephone apps,
banned
maybe.
banned apps.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Um, any app that's banned probably has a virus in it, so it's
Yeah.
not something I would want to check out.
Uh,
Um,
I mean, I think like yeah, like how many different areas do we digest media in? Like,
paintings, like physical, like graphic art.
okay, I feel like that's going to be a risky one too because most banned graphics or graphical whatever are going to be probably things that we just shouldn't be looking at anyway.
Oh, don't be such a prude. I mean, one man's pornography is another man's fine art, is my opinion. So, um,
I mean, yeah, I guess it would
definitely,
be interesting to see like maybe things that were controversial at the time, maybe not so
yeah,
much now, but like and see why they were so controversial. That could be interesting.
would love to talk about Piss Christ.
Who?
Piss Christ.
Who's that?
It's not a who, it's a thing. It's an art. It was an art piece that was. It was basically a crucifix inside of a jar that was filled with the artist's urine, and the art piece was called Piss Christ.
Oh, okay. Okay. And it was
So,
banned obviously, so
well, I don't know. See, when you get to art like that, it's not because it's produced and exhibited in a different way. You don't usually find those sorts of things being banned because it's like this gallery has decided to showcase this art piece. No one's going to come and close down the gallery. Like if the gallery's already decided to showcase it, it's just going to. So it's
right.
different from like if I write a book and somebody publishes it, but then a whole country says we don't like that book and you can't have it here. It's
Right.
harder to ban art like that, and that made it make it difficult to like officially cover. But we could definitely, I think, take controversial art or art that like had demonstrations in front of it, perhaps as something that would fit within the mold of this podcast.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, maybe comedy too, controversial comedy, Lenny Brooks, things like that. Anyhow, that brings us up to about an hour, and I've covered
Yeah.
most of the things I wanted to talk about. Do you have any sort of final thoughts before we move on?
Um I mean, I'm glad we got to talk about Ken Park a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm glad you
'Cause
reminded me of that. I'm definitely going to go and see if I can get that sort of remastered to an extent that we can at least do something with it because that was a good episode.
that
Good two
was that
episodes.
I felt like it, yeah, those were great. Yeah. I mean, Turner Diaries, I think we can both agree that was the worst thing we covered.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was no doubt about it.
Um
And probably the worst thing I've ever read. Definitely the worst thing I've ever read. Because
yeah.
I've read books that were equally bad, but they didn't have the same level of hate. So I'd
Right.
rather take bad literature without the fucking racism and
With
hate.
good
So yeah.
intentions, yeah.
Yeah.
Um and I don't know if I can say it's the worst thing I ever read because I never finished it, but I mean I skimmed it. I think I finished it enough. through the major plot points. I definitely skipped some of the final racist, fucking stupid ass rants at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I just had enough of them.
It just
But
wouldn't
yeah,
stop.
don't read it if you're thinking about it. Just don't. Do yourself
Just
a
don't. Just
favor.
go listen to our
Read some.
podcast. We cover it all. We cover it
Read
all
some.
until your
Read
wife doesn't
something
read it.
else. I mean, don't even listen to the podcast. I think we talk about it too much. I think just forget we even brought it up.
Just forget we even brought it up. Okay.
um, yeah, I mean, we covered some really good. I think the most ridiculous thing that was banned was probably the Paper Bag Princess.
Yeah, probably.
I think that was just
Either that
whoever.
or Captain Underpants, which was like banned for
Oh yeah,
assert big authority or
anti-authority.
something.
Yeah.
Anti-authority, yeah.
Oh my god. That was a well-written book. That was really. I don't think we didn't talk about that at all. Captain Underpants was really well put together, really well thought out, flowed incredibly well.
Yeah, it was really, really well. I wanted, and not just written, but the way it was structured. There were points where, like, you'd get to the end of one chapter with a question mark, and then the title of the next chapter was like the answer to the previous chapter's question, and it was just really A+ put together. You still there? I think we may have lost an Oren. Well, I think we've lost Mr. Oren. Oh, hello?
Hello,
Hi.
am I back?
You are back.
Okay, I don't know what happened,
Neither do I.
but I'm back, baby.
Whatever you were saying a second ago, you can say it again.
I can't even remember. So I think I feel like we covered some good topics.
Yeah,
I feel like it was nice to walk down memory lane.
I'm glad. I'm glad you came back and chatted with us, and I enjoyed walking down memory lane too. Like, this podcast has definitely been one of the highlights of my time through the last couple of years of COVID insanity, and so thank you so much for coming on much of this journey with me.
Absolutely, it was a whole lot of fun.
Okay. Well, until we find a band thing to sit down and talk about again, my name's Todd Sullivan.
And my name is Oren Barter.
This has been When Bad Things Happen to Good People. You say it, buddy.
Go read a fucking book already.